So welcome, everybody. So first off, we've got approval of the meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to read them? The minutes?
And while I talked to Marty before the meeting, and while I am not a board member, I do have a request for a slight change. I can wait till the board members who have any amendments go, or I can go first.
You can go ahead.
Okay. And of course, I had them a second ago, and now they're in my pile. It's under the, oh, I know what it is. That we only have them in email. I only have them in my email. It's the section under Mike Krogan's report.
The audit, okay. Oh, yes.
See that?
Yeah.
And the last sentence, all it says is Jen will discuss this with Susan, as though Susan had something, Susan didn't have anything to do with deposits. So what I prefer to say is Jen will be discussing a plan for timely deposits with her assistant, Susan. So basically saying that Susan and I are going to come up with a plan for which one of us as the director, assistant director will be making the deposits.
Okay.
Okay. And then of course I am going to go back to our, that report that when David was still president, that you guys wrote the policy or the procedure for internal controls. We need to check in there because it might already say a salaried full-time person needs to make deposits. Okay.
And I have a couple of just little typo things, but under new business, we had Chantal suggested it should be Jen instead of Ken. So should contact Doña Hunter about this donation. And also under Novus's interest in the library, Chantal suggested that delete in. So just a little typo thing. And that's all that I saw. Does anybody else have any changes? No. Okay.
I actually have a change. So under new business, when we discussed the Historical Society donation, one of the things that I had suggested was contacting Doña Hunter, but I also said it needed to go on our balance sheet. I would like that noted in the minutes, just that we need to track that on the balance sheet, the donation.
Need to track on balance sheet.
Yeah.
And Chantal,
Mm-hmm.
you would also, do you want this in there too? You had also suggested that it be actually restricted.
Yes. It's not that it should be restricted. It is because it's a donation that was made for a specific purpose. So
right, but and I just wanted to let you know.
I have a question.
Oh.
How are we going to track that on the balance sheet? The revenue, I guess, was received in 2012.
Mm-hmm. I would say, I'm just trying to think about how to date it. I don't know. What do you suggest, Lori? I mean, we need to track it as restricted equity. But you're right. It's from 8 years ago, 9 years ago. So what's your suggestion, Lori?
So it should go on there as its own line item as in restricted or as a restricted donation. You're going to have to put notes from here to yesterday, say what it's from, when it was originally deposited. But it's going to come, you mean where to take the money out of?
So we created a new line item.
Yep.
For this coming fiscal year.
Good.
For those expenditures.
And this fiscal year starts, remind me.
April.
April 1st.
It's April 1st, right?
Mm-hmm. So I guess My suggestion is just to track it as an expenditure under that line item. And then when they do the audit, that's where in the audit, it would show as restricted, fund well, it's not, we're going to spend the money. So,
Okay,
it's difficult because it's, that money was deposited so long ago. I can definitely track the expenditures, going forward, showing that's what it was spent for. Essentially, we're just taking fund balance. Maybe we can do a restatement at next year's audit and have like a restricted fund balance
so
from, like, do a
Danielle,
restatement. Yeah.
to me, that money that constantly gets rolled over,
Yeah, fund
think
balance.
about that's where this is.
Okay. We may have to make a note of that in the, like, next, when we go to do next year's audit.
That's what I mean. So when you,
Yes.
anytime when you roll, that's, to me, that's where this money's been just sitting there. If you think of it
Yes.
that way.
Yep.
And then when you put it in, when amount goes in there to be reduced, you just put the note from, this is what it's from, this is when it's originally deposited, money was never spent, restricted donation from who it's from.
Okay.
And Lori,
Mhm.
what I'm gonna hand this a copy, or Danielle should already have it, but I guess she should attach then in a folder this copy of what Donia sent to us.
Yeah, I have
Yeah, you
all.
should definitely have a file for this donation.
Okay, and so we'll stick that in there. And that's nice and specific. And Lori, I did invite Donia and she texted me and said, thank you so much, that she is busy this evening.
It's fine.
She cannot make it, but to keep her posted,
Excellent.
just to let you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that one, I just want to make sure I have this correct. So in last time's minutes, I should say this donation is a restricted account. So Chantal, is that what you said?
No, what I had said was that we should track it as restricted equity, like a portion of our equity that's restricted.
Oh, wait a minute. Tell me again these minutes should be amended to.
Okay, so what I would do is just insert a sentence there that says Chantal suggested that the donation be tracked as restricted equity on the balance sheet.
Oh, wait a minute, be tracked as restricted equity.
On the balance sheet.
Okay.
I mean, because that's what I said. Now, whether or not, the board does, that's a different thing, but the minutes are supposed to be what I said, so. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Also, if we're fixing typos, that sentence has Jen as hen.
Oh.
Yeah, you can call me Hen if you'd like.
Okay, any other changes? Okay, then I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of the amended minutes dated January the 11th, 2021. Do you have a second? Katie, second? Okay. Okay, minutes approved. Okay, next we have the financial.
We need to
report.
vote, Marty.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No, okay. Minutes approved. Moving on to the financial report. Danielle, you're up here?
Okay. As of January 31st, 2021, we are at 110% in revenue. And we are at approximately 78% of budgeted expenditures overall.
And we just got another check from the county today,
Another property tax.
property tax, not check, so statement.
Yeah, that should put us right about what we budgeted then. So
So that's, and it's only February.
Actually, we'll be over what we budgeted, so that's good.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And then if you look at the financials compared to last year at this time, we are approximately 10% over where we were in revenue compared to last year at this time. And expenditure wise, we are 26% over in expenditures compared to last year at this time.
Okay.
However,
And
that's the building project that we had done.
the plum.
That's really driving that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I included the transaction list by vendor from January 11th through the 28th. And then the unpaid bills are included there, which were anything paid after the 28th until now that are waiting to be paid.
Any questions?
I was going to say something, but I'll wait to see if there's questions. But I have an answer for Chantel from last time.
Oh no, I don't remember. Sorry.
Well, it's okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
No, go ahead. Tell me.
Okay. So, and actually you weren't waiting for a response because my response, my quick response was deer in the headlights, COVID. So you were wondering why we were so outside of our budget for our legal fees. And I didn't have it right in front of me. And so I shouldn't have said COVID. I hope I said, I think it's COVID, COVID related. But frankly, I looked back, I didn't spend over $500 talking about COVID. So I did pretty well on my own with all the legal HR things. So, and such, and of course, help from you guys with all the policies and such. But here it is. You ready? $2,500 payment to a law firm of Gilmore Bell. And that is the law firm who did the original building buy in 2012. So Lori and I, after the fact, talked about in 5 years, when this comes up again, we can look into alternatives. But basically what happened is that I've never bought a house. So even though I did everything correctly, I honestly didn't know that there was going to be this big cost associated with the bond renewal, the lease renewal, not the lease, the bond renewal.
Renewal.
The renewal, yes, for the building. So it was just a $2,500 fee. And I did talk to Colette at the bank and asked her, I just wanted to check on my own. I said, so could I have used another law firm? It's after the fact, but could I have? And she said, absolutely. Said that it all happened so fast that she just assumed it would be easier because they have all the information already. And because this particular law firm specializes in this, in the purchasing of buildings. And so she thought, I guess she assumed that would be the easiest, but she did say that next time, if we wanted to go a different direction with a law firm, we can. She said it might be tougher because then you have to do a lot more research and such to make sure that they're that they specialize in that. So does that make sense?
It does. So just remind me, I know that the last time we had to renew this year, that was a 5-year bond. What's the term of the renewed bond this time?
5.
2025. So 2025. So maybe, I know I'm not going to be on the board because I'll have timed out. Maybe
Right.
we can make a note to
Okay.
budget that in 2025. That
Yeah,
the board knows to budget
we'll-
for that.
We'll put it in a file.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. So I hope that was a long explanation, but I hope you got the gist of it.
Yeah, good.
So,
Okay, so now I'll make a motion then that we approve the transaction list by vendor dated January the 11th through 28, 2021, totaling $5,321.38, and the unpaid bills detail as of January the 29th, 2021, totaling $5,321.38, for a grand total of $8,657.34. Do I have a second?
Second. Stephanie?
Stephanie seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion approved. Okay. Next, I was gonna, Danielle,
Yes,
we have the proposed budget down toward the last part of the agenda.
yes.
Do you want to hang around for that, or we can move that up?
Well, I would say I could hang around. I am in my car. I came all the way out to drop my daughter off at her soccer practice, and no one conveyed to me that it must have been canceled tonight.
Oh,
So I'm
no.
sitting in the parking lot. So if we could do that, that would be great. Then I could head home.
Okay, good. Okay, then I'll make a motion that we move the discussion on the preliminary budget up under the now, before public communications.
I'll second.
Okay, Lori seconded. Okay, so all approved, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion approved. Okay, Danielle, you're on.
Okay, like Jen said, this is the first draft preliminary budget that we put together. You'll see a few additional line items that we included. I highlighted those. One was for the landscaping for some tree removal that Jen foresees. Also a line item for some library furnishings for programming, such as, a rug or chairs. Jen can probably speak better to that than I can. We also have an additional line item for Wi-Fi support at the library that's going to be added next year. And most other line items we kind of just looked at averages over the past 3 or 4 years. And with respect to the revenue, the library revenue section, I just threw in the budget from this fiscal year that was made before we knew we were going to be closed for a year. So I don't know how to, Jen will probably know better on how that's going to go.
How we're going to estimate that? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Jen, I mean, if you wanted to speak to any of these,
Sure. So the first one, library furnishing, I just want to put that in there. I don't have anything specific in mind. We put rug just as an example. We already bought a Storytime rug, so rug is not, that was just for an example. But I was thinking more of possible, like, I don't know how long the pandemic is going to go on or how this is all going to go, but what if we need something like some chairs with like those old fashioned desks with the desk is attached to the chair and it's just on the one side. You know what I mean? Okay. So like something like that, for social distancing in the library, because I have no idea like how long things are going to be going on. So once we reopen, we might need something like that. And we will have 4 brand new, we already do in our possession. We have 4 brand new in-house use only laptops now. And so I wasn't planning on putting a lot of money into furnishings, but just in case, it was more of a just in case, some kind of placeholder. I just don't know what's going to be happening with social distancing, like how long is that going to be going on? So, because right now, all of our computers are basically in one spot, and they have to be there because of the way they're connected into the floor. So that's all I'm going to say about that. But not a ton of money, just possibly a few things for social distancing, basically.
So
But
I don't
not-
know
not
how you want to,
PPE.
I don't know how you want to review the budget, if you want to go line by line, or
What are we? Go ahead.
I have several questions. I don't know if anybody else is ready yet. I mean, that might spark something. Can we just, is that okay?
Yeah.
Go that way?
sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Please.
Okay, so I see that there's no budget for audiobooks.
Good question, Lori. We just talked about that tonight. All right, so because Overdrive is so popular and much more use than our regular audiobooks get these days, even though some people do still come in. I mean, no one's been coming in lately, but not a lot of people, and I can get for the next meeting, I can get stats for you. That's not a problem. But what we've been doing, I think the past, Susan, correct me if I'm wrong, the past 2 years or 3, we've just been getting, because of the sheer amount of audiobooks that are on Hoopla and Overdrive, that we were buying them for people who we were talking to our patrons, and we are buying them for people who were traveling for the summer.
Mhm.
So that's what we're doing, but we don't know if anybody's really going to be traveling this summer.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's at 0. But if we want to put it just in case, instead of adding it later, we could do that.
I think you know that the collection better than anyone, and
Yeah, okay.
you don't think I assume that you might want a couple things. I think people will be traveling. I think you will find that people will be traveling. Probably not as much as last year, but
Right. Okay. Well, I'll check into the statistics more. So thanks, Lori, for bringing that up.
I agree
And what
too.
else?
Oh, I agree too. That I think it'd be nice to look into that a little bit more. See, maybe even put a little bit more in the budget for that.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
yeah, we'll look at it. We'll look at the actual, the real statistics. It's just not very high at all, but.
Also, we have less budgeted for Overdrive than the last couple of years expenditures for the Overdrive collection.
Yeah.
So, okay, so our systems admin, she does the purchasing for that. So Overdrive fluctuates a little bit, but Danielle or John, was your question what we have budgeted for this coming fiscal year? Is that what the
Yeah.
question was? That one, we better circle because prices are going to be going up by a few percent for our MLC databases, by the way. And I'm waiting on those statistics. It's not going to be tons. It's not going to be much, but I'm waiting on that information from Lisa.
I
Yes,
think
Lori?
you use the average maybe that year, and that $1,400 from 2018 probably pulled that down more than it should have.
Yep.
So I would not average that in. I would average 19, 20, 21.
So what we did, Lori, we did average all of those just because we usually get a budget from the
That's right.
consortium.
Yeah.
And we haven't received that yet. And we've pressed them on it. So I know Jen's working on getting those numbers, which will give us we wanted a placeholder of some sort in there.
And I get that. It's just that if she just said prices are
Oh,
going
you guys
up,
are cutting out. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll look at that.
My
Oh,
second,
no.
you can log out and log back in. Can you hear us? Okay.
Can you hear us?
Now I can. Lori, can I add something to what you just said?
Yep.
So what Danielle said is right. We just have placeholders in. As far as the MLC goes, we're just gonna have to get estimates from Lisa Henry, she's really good, and she'll talk to Krista. But we haven't, our budget, we haven't even talked about our budget yet, but it's pretty much been the same increase each year. So like I said, Lisa's gonna give me percentage increases estimate.
I get that. It's just significantly lower because you use the
Right,
average. of
because
20.
right. But I was letting you know that we're on it.
I got that. I appreciate
Can
it.
Can I add to that? Just
Yeah.
because I'm seeing kind of the same issue with, like, for example, under computer expense. When you were flagging some of the line items that were highlighted, like I'm looking at the rising costs, for example, in AT&T costs. And then what the actuals were over the course of, previous years. And for example, Mornet, you seem to have less budgeted than we actually spent this year. Same thing with AT&T by quite a bit. And AT&T is a utility that's not going to go down. So I don't know if there's a way that the budget could be tweaked with an eye to things like utilities, things that we know are going up in cost, because I think
Or-
averaging stuff out is pulling down what we're estimating.
Yeah.
By
We
quite a
will-
bit.
We'll go through it. I will say this, that it has been more difficult because I'm used to sitting across from Danielle or Lisa, as the case may be, when she was the bookkeeper, and we just sit there and we discuss, I made tons of notes for her, for Danielle, but we're not in the same room very often. It's been hard because of the virus, because of COVID.
Yeah, you get that.
We can't be together. It's hard. It's made things more difficult. And then there's constraint, but we will totally take all that into consideration. And thank you, everyone, thanks for mentioning the Mornet expense, because I definitely have to look into that one, but we'll look into everything. Okay.
So my next item on there is one of the comments that we got, of the few comments which are valuable because people cared to comment, that we got was about the diversity of the children's collection.
Mhm.
And I would like to see designated money to expand that collection, because I think part of, I could be totally wrong, but I think that a good chunk of the library use is children.
We
And
have we have amazing, so Lori,
Yeah.
we strive to keep a diverse collection,
Uh-huh.
and I can even pull those books, but my philosophy is I like to integrate them. So if you ever wanted to come in, and I can pull tons of books on diversity for you, or sometimes, go ahead.
Well,
Lucas,
I don't think it's necessarily a book about diversity. It is about looking at the collection and seeing your children reflected in the books. So it wouldn't be a book about diversity. It would be a book about trees growing, and you see not just
Yeah.
white children.
Exactly. No, I know. We have tons of, but I'm just telling you, we have tons of books with kids that aren't, with characters who aren't just white. It's very diverse. It's just that I don't have them separated in one section. So
And they shouldn't be.
correct. But we do make, I'm sorry, I'm not being defensive, but I'm just letting you know that I do make remember I was a children's librarian for
I do.
12 years. And so we do make a huge effort to make the collection as diverse as possible. And here's something else. Unfortunately, and you probably already know this just because I'm sure you're an avid reader, you're a knowledgeable person, that unfortunately the history of children's books has been a lack of diversity.
It has been.
So then that was a long history of a lack of diversity. So I do my best to choose books based on my knowledge and based on reviews and based on our patrons' input.
I think, can I just interject here and just say that I know what you're talking about, Jen, because I can tell you that since my daughter has been going to the library when she was like 18 months old
Yeah.
to now, the
Mhm.
book collection has definitely evolved, and I can see the efforts that especially you in your tenure here have like instituted.
Mhm.
I know that we're planning on getting a strategic consultant to come in, and that would be part of it, would be collection development with an eye to what the community needs are.
Great.
But I will say that until we have that in place, if we're getting feedback as board members from community that, hey, we think that the collection is great, but it really needs a little bit more diversity and more of an eye to representation and voices, I think it's something that is worth, and we're not talking about, I mean, unless I'm misunderstanding, Lori, I don't think you're talking about throwing a huge line item. It's just devoting a chunk to the collection development for kids to do that. And it shows a responsiveness, I think, if we're
And so-
asking.
I get it. I get it. So you guys are
Yes.
saying that you trust that I'm doing this, but you want me,
Yes,
it would be
more.
better public eye more, but also in the public eye for them to be able to see that we are pulling money to specifically purchase these items. Because even though I am, and if they're like all dispersed all over the library, people might not be seeing all of them. That's a big part of it.
Yes, I would,
So they're
I think
scattered.
more money needs to be
Okay.
put into the category of children's materials.
Oh, in general. Okay.
Yeah.
Two.
And with
Okay.
an eye, with an eye towards, keeping the diversity open, keep looking at, because I think that especially in the last couple years,
Mhm.
I think that there's way more resources than there have been in the past.
Mhm. Right. So the past year, though, itself has been weird because of the pandemic. So that's just thrown everything off. But I'm just saying that I keep an eye towards diversity when I collect, and Deb does as well. So, but go ahead, Lori.
I, as a board member, would like to see more money designated towards purchasing children's materials.
Got it. Okay. And with an eye towards diversity. Okay.
Yes.
I got it.
Okay,
Okay.
my other thing that I noticed is there is no money in here for the strategic consultant, and this has been put off and put off and put off, and I think this is not the year to put it off.
Yeah.
Next year. I mean, if something happens in this pandemic, then we can put it on hold, but to assume that we're not going to be able to do it is, I think, the wrong direction.
Okay, I think that Danielle just left that blank because we hadn't even, again, that's not something, it's important, but it's not something that she and I had discussed yet.
Yeah,
as far-
I kind of
So-
second what Lori said. I think it's really paramount that, we start making, we've already dealt with so many building issues. And I know
Right.
that there's been a lot of stuff that's pulled our attention in other directions, and the pandemic just seems like, but I just don't think there's ever going to be a moment where all our ducks are in a row. I think we just have to start moving. We're fortunate because we have a smaller municipality, so it's easier to get, I think, a better sense of what our community needs. So I would also agree that I think we need to put a line item in for that and reasonably budget for
Okay.
sure to get
Okay.
that
And
started.
that would be thousands of dollars.
Yep.
Right. So that could be $10,000 to $15,000.
Yes.
Yep.
So, right. Then that, I'm total, just so you know, I'm very much with you on that, okay? It's
Right.
just, again, with the pandemic, it's just unfortunately has not been in the forefront, unfortunately, but you're right, Chantel, who knows how long this is going to go on. And we can, if nothing else, we can at least, once we start it, we can at the very least have Zoom meetings if need be,
Mhm.
but working closely with someone.
So the other thing that I see is not on here. Oh, I do see it. I just found it.
Okay.
The African American Rock Hill Project. Never mind. So those were my notes.
Okay, thank you, Lori.
And I had just a couple of things, Jen,
Yeah.
that haven't want to start. I just want to double check that raises, cost of living increases or whatever are in under,
Mhm.
in the payroll account? Looks like there's not
Well,
much,
the-
not much of an increase at all in payroll.
There was
I mean,
there was a 6% across the board.
Okay,
and that's only a just in case, which is what I was told was better to do
Yes.
rather than act
Yes.
later.
yes,
Okay, so that's definitely not, I'm not saying that's a done deal. Is that
Right.
did that answer your question?
yes, yeah,
That wasn't phrased the greatest, but
No.
I'm just saying that it's a placeholder.
right, exactly. That's what, yeah, that's what we need, yeah. And also
Okay.
for conferences, it's gone from $500 last year to 2,000 for 2022. Do you have plans for conferences or what?
I don't know if I would love to go to PLA again, but I don't know if they're gonna have PLA even in,
Okay.
wait. Yeah, I don't even know if they'll have it in 2022 because it's like, it would be a year from now. So I think that we just put that in, Danielle put that in there because she knows it's every other year.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Do
there
you-
wasn't,
Do you have training in here?
we do. Yep.
Where? I can't find it.
It's development training, Lori.
How far down is it?
It's the fourth sub account.
And staff has been finding, and I've been paying for some webinars for me. They're like $35 with my PLA membership. But, and I've told staff if they find something good, or if I find something I'd like them to attend, well, webinar wise, that we'll see how much it costs, see what budget's like. But they've been finding really great free webinars. So the staff has attended many. They attended while we were at home, and they continue to. So
Are you documenting them in their personnel files?
I asked them to keep track, but I should catch up with them and do that.
Because that will be good for reviews.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
And a couple other things under, is same thing what Chantal mentioned, under utilities, gas and electric. There's less budgeted this year than last year for those things, which doesn't seem like that would be what would happen. But
I think,
Those, oh,
go ahead.
I've noticed that, and at some point I like spread them all out on the floor. I noticed that they slowly did start to go down after we replaced the front of the building.
Yeah, we were
that's
looking at that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good.
And now we have, once I started, I got someone to come in and they tend to the HVAC units, and we changed the filters. So maybe that's helping too.
Could be. That makes sense.
However, do you think that should it be a just in case? Because we don't know what the weather is doing? Should we?
If the rates will go up.
Well,
Or if the rates themselves go up, right?
water is on track to go up like what, 20%, 26%?
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you. So we will look further into that, more research into the actual, not what we're using, but the rates themselves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? About anything?
I do. I have a couple questions. One is about the payroll service cost. And, maybe this is just unfortunate because I know I can see your guys' notes on the right, but it looks like there's an up 50% per gen. But I'm not seeing that reflected in what's budgeted when I look over the course of the last 4 years of actuals. Looks
Wait,
like,
Did
under-
you say 50% from Jen? What
it
was
says
that?
up 50% per gen.
There's
The
a
right-
note in the right column.
Yeah.
On payroll service,
Yes. Yeah. So I just didn't know if that was,
that could have
Yeah.
been last year's note off to the
Mhm.
side, but because I know they had I thought it was 15% though, but it says 50.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it increased significantly in
Well, it might be time to rebid that out. I mean, you can also go back to them and say, no, we don't want to pay that.
Right,
Look at it again. I
right.
mean, it's been my experience that payroll services are very easy to sway when it comes to
Okay.
their fees.
And I'm pretty good with that. And in fact, Lori, this is probably perfect timing because well, everyone, but I addressed Lori, 'cause she brought it up, but, I actually just requested a new payroll specialist.
Good.
So there's turnover, but if I don't click with one, mm-mm. And they're very good about, they want people to have a good fit. So that would be like the perfect timing then to talk to that new person.
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I just
Lori.
I promise I only have two more things.
That's okay.
One has to do with the PPE equipment and your cleaning supplies line item. I noticed that the PPE equipment line is blank. I'm assuming that's because you guys are still calculating. But under cleaning supplies, which is under building maintenance, you know, it looks like we spent $900+ this year, and I'm assuming that some of that is PPE equipment.
Yep.
Okay, so
We-
some of this will be, so I know you budgeted
it.
223, so I'm assuming the remainder might be going up on that PPE line, is that right?
Yeah, so what we did was, I asked Danielle at the very beginning, well, Susan, myself, and Danielle, we all record PPE on any receipt, on any invoice that is PPE. And then Danielle's recorded it. We still need to extract it and add it all up. Unfortunately, I think it's more than I even think it is. And going forward, we're still gonna need things like gloves and certain cleaning supplies, not a ton, and disinfectants. But the big one, and I haven't looked into these, but I'm glad that this came up. The big one is going to be, do we need air purifiers? I mean, I would think so, but there's so many, I don't even know where to start because there's just, everyone's selling air purifiers. So I'm a librarian and I can research, but I'm gonna have to really I'm gonna talk to some of the other directors and see what they've been using in their libraries, do some of my own research, but I'm gonna have to do a hodgepodge of different things because like I said, I don't know if you've looked into them, but everybody's selling them.
Mhm.
Are
And
you,
it's just.
are you looking at
hard to
the one that will tie into our HVAC system as opposed
No.
to, yeah, that's what you need to look into.
Okay. Okay, Lori, that could be like thousands and thousands of dollars.
It could be.
But it's worth.
Depends on what we have in there and depends on what can we do, as opposed to,
Right. Right.
I mean, you should look at both.
Right. So separate ones. And if any of you have, for any reason, worked in your respective positions and experience, have purchased air purifiers and you already happen to know, I'll do the research, but if you happen to know something that's great, by all means, feel free to email. Not to make things easy on me, but that would be helpful. How's that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think if you look at like air scrubbers are, I think, or what they're called, the ones that go into your HVAC system
Okay.
separately. Yeah.
Those are the ones that attach.
Mhm.
Okay.
That might be.
Thank you.
And then I guess the last question I had, which I hope is a really fun one, is I saw that you budgeted 15,000 for grants.
Yes.
So I didn't know, what you were thinking of applying for, if that's just kind of a placeholder, if you had something specific in mind.
So we're gonna have to, it's time to replace all the desktops. So they are all pretty much outdated and Bill has confirmed. He's updated, some of them are updated to the point where he had to like pull some magic trick and update it even further than it was supposed to be. And He also, and I can talk to other people too, besides just Bill, but I have read this, that purchasing, instead of like just purchasing I want to replace all of them, patron and staff. So the staff ones are over 5 years old as well. And Bill said he'd help me with the grant with this cost portion. And I actually found a very good connection for devices, for computer equipment. It's quite nice. So it's already said we're the proud owners through that CARES Act grant that I got, we're the proud owners of 4 in-house usage laptops. And we're going to be, soon we'll be circulating 10 Chromebooks. So we just ordered a sample bag, and I think that's going to be the one. And once we order those bags, Susan will catalog them, and then we'll start to promote those. Did that answer the whole question?
Yep.
So it's a computer. How about this? It's a grant for all new computers and related support. How's that?
What are you doing with the outdated computers? What do you do with them?
So I have to talk to our lawyer about donations, but personally, I would want to donate them to B-Works in the city. You know, that's the Bicycle Works, the computers and Bookworks program for the kids. So they teach kids how to work on computers with old donated ones. But I have to find out if these computers were purchased with grant money. There might be stipulations on how to get rid of them or what to do with them. So I'll definitely research all that before I do anything.
And I really would like to see if there's something local within our taxpayer district. Is there any?
Yes.
Is
I
there
will-
any organization in Rock Hill that could use them? Because
And Lori, I just said B-Works because that's what I know, but I would definitely look don't worry, I'll look in our area first.
Great.
Okay. All right. So isn't that exciting then that that we're almost about to circulate the Chromebooks?
so
I'm excited.
is Danielle done? I feel.
Oh
for her
yeah, I'm
so-
sorry, I'm like going off on a tangent here. Danielle?
Hi.
Hi. So
So
Did
if I could just get some clarification, should we, Jen, you and I will go back and go through each line item again with everything that was discussed. And then do you want us to send you all the budget before the next meeting so that if there's any other, so that when we come back in March, we can have a final proposed budget?
Yes.
That's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Thanks, guys.
thanks,
Danielle.
Danielle. So
Thanks,
we'll-
Danielle.
Thank you.
Danielle, we'll schedule a Zoom meeting for that soon. Bye.
Okay. Sounds good. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks so much.
Okay. The library director's report, looks like we're next up. Jen, you're next up.
Okay, I actually just talked about the first thing, and that was we're moving ahead with circulating we'll soon be circulating the Chromebooks to the community. And we are going to start with Rock Hill residents first, because it's going to be a pilot project. We've not done this before. And then I'll be talking to the other directors on who they circulate to and how they've handled it. Also, Lori, a long time ago, you had asked me to check on insurance for these.
Yeah.
So just want to let you know that I gave them all the information, and they said that the premium and then the deductible, everything wouldn't be, it wouldn't necessarily, like, they're too inexpensive, I guess is the way to say it, that I wouldn't need to take out. How about this? There would be no reason, she said, to take out an extra like rider for them.
I'm talking about patrons. An insurance for so for example, there's programs where, you know, like at the school, it's $3. I think it's $3 or something to check out a Chromebook. And that's your insurance. It purchases the insurance to cover the Chromebook.
Oh, interesting. I didn't hear that. I don't guess I wasn't listening.
Yeah,
Thank
so I'm
you.
not talking about, I'm assuming that you upgrade our equipment with you know, with
I-
insurance company as it goes. But no,
Right.
I'm talking about, because if
Some kind of
someone takes a
cost.
laptop and breaks a laptop,
Right.
how are you gonna collect that money from them? You're probably not. But,
There-
go ahead.
There definitely is. I've already talked to the other directors and there's definitely been some loss and theft involved.
Yep.
It's been lower than you might think, except for at county and city, they have more people, more Chromebooks, so they have a higher loss rate. But there's also ways that you can lock, and Bill knows all this. You can, there's software so you can lock it down to make it
Yep.
into a brick. And he knows actual like free shareware that's safe that he can put on there. But yeah,
But then it just
there
gets
could be
thrown
some,
away.
there
You know,
could be some, I realize that there could be loss and or theft involved. Some people keep like copies of driver's licenses or IDs. I'm not sure. So yeah, I guess once we get the bags, it's not going to be immediate. You're right. I gotta
So-
figure out how.
You could ask the librarians at the high school, who is it that they use?
Okay.
And then it's just a question of calling the company, say, how does it work? How much does it cost?
Right. I will say that none of the other directors charge for the Chromebook checkouts, just FYI. So,
There you. I just think
I-
it's not a bad idea to have all the information.
no, I wasn't,
And
yeah,
like if
I
somebody
agree.
does, and maybe, you know, someone loses one once, they come back for a second one, say, well, you've already lost or damaged one, so now you need to give us $3 for this insurance policy.
Right, that's a good idea. Yeah. But thanks, Lori. Do you happen to know someone from the high school that you're thinking
I don't
of?
know who the head librarian is anymore, but I mean, you could just ask for the library and they'll tell you.
Yeah, oh, I know. I was just wondering if you had a name. It's
No.
always nice to have a name.
It might even be on their website.
I'm
It might.
probably is.
Anyway. Okay. Anything else with that, Lori?
No.
Thank you for that suggestion. So now I know that loss and or damage is going to be an issue. And so the other libraries, as far as damage goes, people have paid them and brought them. There have been a lot of honest people who've brought them back and paid for them. So, but there's like I think there's a maximum amount that they charge for it. Anybody else does anyone else have questions about those? Because I realize it's not as easy as just circulating them. I'm just excited about it. So. All right, Danielle left, didn't she?
Yeah.
So did you have more questions? Chantal, was it you?
I thought we were in the middle of the library director's report.
Yeah, okay. It's because I got off on the tangent about the Chromebooks again.
Well, they're exciting. It's easy.
They are there. All right, so and you know what, Chantal, the next one is about the legal fees for Gilmore Bell. Done. And I'll be writing the tech ladder grant for new computers. And we'll also be writing up our payroll procedures. And then I'll be giving that to you, since you ultimately sign off on procedures and policies, right? Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a trustee ask me to write up how it is we do the payroll from start to finish. And, oh, also, is everyone signed up for our newsletter and have you been receiving it?
No,
Okay.
how do we
So
do that?
if you want to send, there's probably a place on the website to sign up. If not, if you could send your, if you could email Kayla. It's kplaytoff@rhplmo.org. And is it just PLATOFF, Susan? I should know how to spell an employee's last name. So PLATOFF. I always want to put a Y in it. But there might, I'm terrible, but there might be somewhere to sign up for it on the website. Nope.
I don't see it.
Okay.
I'm gonna search it here.
So, and
Looking at the homepage now, it's not on there.
okay. So, but for now, if you're interested, it is nice. And that we also have a really nice blog for Black History Month. And you can connect through the website, but also I just want you guys to see the newsletter. It's nice.
You can subscribe, if you search in the search our website and put in newsletter, then it takes you to a link to subscribe.
Okay. And that's a little buried, but we also now we just moved to a new server. So we just had a hosted move through our ILS platform. And now we have an option to add people when they sign up for a library card or when they're just in. There's a little drop-down box that says, would you like our newsletter? So that's kind of nice. So yet another way to get the word out about our programs. And and we are just part of my director's report to save a little money. We are going down to 1 yoga class per month instead of 2. Until we go back to live yoga, then we'll go back to the 2 a month because it's so popular. So we're going to focus on our wind down Wednesdays if you're ever interested. It's with Alicia and it's quite nice. It's the last Wednesday of the month at 8 p.m. And I think that's it. I mean, we have a lot of things going on, but I think those are the main points that I wanted to bring up.
Okay. Next up, I don't see we have any committee reports. Down to no unfinished business. Okay, new business. We've got, I think I mentioned last time that we do have a new file cabinet that Jen got for us. It will be in the craft closet, which is in like the big reading room there. And there are 2 keys. The president will have 1 key. And then the second key, I guess we'll need to figure out the best person to have that. Laurie suggested the vice president. I'm wondering if maybe the secretary or treasurer might be a better person for that. So I don't know if anybody has any ideas or thoughts on which might be the best, but.
Maybe the secretary, since they're in charge of the documents.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I also have, like I've got some stuff that I want to put in there. So I'll just, at some point connect with whoever you decide that should be.
Okay. And the craft closet is locked. I guess, Jen, that's open during library hours though, so we can walk in and you can unlock it for us.
We can unlock it for you. Sometimes it's unlocked because we have certain things in there that we use on a daily basis. But
I will have the same key that unlocks the door. So I have that key if I should go in when the library is closed. Otherwise, I guess, Jen, they can just come in and say they want to get into the file cabinet.
Yes, absolutely. And everyone has a key to the closet. So
Okay.
So and it'll be easy we're going to have it on the left side of the closet, easy to reach, and plenty of room to pull all the drawers out.
Okay, good. Okay. Next up, we got trustee terms. we have all three positions. Katie has agreed to, Katie was approved for a 1-year term. So she has agreed to extend hers to a full term, 3 years. Found out John he'll be a term limited out, which we had a mistake on our directory. So this will be his last term until he decides to come back. And my term is also up, and I plan to also take a break off the board to step down from my seat. So that means we'll have 2 openings coming up. So Jen, if you could put notes on the newsletter, website, Facebook, whatever, that we need board members.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if we had another man on the board. But so if anybody knows anybody that's interested, pass it on to Jen. So that would be good to get going on that.
Okay.
Donia Hunter is interested. So Jen, if you could just send her the document, the application, whatever you got.
Yep. Great. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions about any trustee terms or anything or anything?
When are your terms up
March 31st.
for you,
Oh,
for both of you?
Yes,
They are, okay, so it's not June, it's the end of the fiscal year.
the end of the, yeah.
All the terms end in March.
Okay,
And also,
We made it coextensive with the fiscal year because it was wonky before. So
gotcha.
we did that like 2 or 3 years ago. So
yeah.
I like that word, thank you.
well,
Thank you.
And so also in, let's see, April we'll be nominating for new officers. So we
For
need to-
officer.
Okay. So,
And
I'm sorry, Marty, I do have a question. I just want to make sure we've got all of the, procedures as far as the city's approval for stuff in place. So Katie's going to serve like a full 3-year term. When she was appointed to the Board of Aldermen did ask her to serve out the remaining term and then another 3 years. So we do have that,
well,
right?
we will need to officially reappoint her because we just did it for the 1-year term through this March.
Okay.
And then so we'll need to send something else to the board, asking them to approve her to a 3-year term.
And Marty, usually you take care of that, so will you be
Yeah.
taking care of that even though you're at the end of your term, or?
I can't, I mean, I'll do it this time.
Or do you
Yeah.
need me to?
Normally, actually, it's the secretary's job to do this.
Okay, I
But
thought,
since I was secretary for so long and Connie, anyway, so I will do this and
thank you.
before, yeah. So that'll be done before I leave.
Do we need to like officially vote so that we could, I don't think we need to wait to send something to the Board of Aldermen to ask Katie to serve the full 3 years,
I
which
don't-
she so
yeah.
generously offered.
So, I mean, no, that's fine with me if we want to go ahead and do that and I can go and get that in the works. So, okay.
I don't remember reappointments going to the Board of Aldermen before.
They're
Yeah,
supposed to.
we do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chantal, then you want to make the motion?
Yeah, I move that the board recommend Katie Brooks for a 3-year term on the Rock Hill Public Library Board of Trustees to begin April 1st, 2021.
I'll second.
Okay. Okay, so I get that over there then. Okay.
Don't we have to vote?
Oh, we have to vote.
So we have to vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No, okay. Okay. Only thing we have left is the Rock Hill Preservation Commission donation project. So Lori, do you want to talk about that at all? Or is there anything else to say other than the memo or?
Did everyone get a chance to read the email?
Okay.
Great. I think it's pretty clear. She's really happy that the library is on it and looks forward to it. She would like to be, and I don't know how we want to approach this, but if there's a board committee of some sort, she would like to be on it.
Okay.
And board committees don't have to be board members. There has to be a board member that's part of it, but it could be people from the community. It doesn't have to be all made up of board members. So I don't know how we want to approach that. I think that, obviously Jen should be on it. I mean, Donia would like to be on it. Anybody else who's interested in it could
And
be
Lori,
on
would
it.
you be on it?
Probably, yeah, I'd be interested in being on it, but if somebody else is dying to do it, I don't have to.
So then do we want to, let's say officially we'll make a committee on the Rock Hill Historic Preservation Commission donation project? It's kind of a long
Well,
committee name.
Yes, or it could just be about, the Rock Hill, we could shorten it. Is it just that, or does that cover just like she wants to cover, the African-American history and preserving that in Rock Hill? Should it
So
cover, we also have all those historic documents from the Men's Society. We have other things that should be
The
dealt
Men's,
with.
excuse me, Lori, it's the Men's Improvement Association.
Whatever.
So
Because you're right.
they needed a lot of approving back in the
They need a lot of
50s, so.
improvement.
yeah.
So do
Well, yeah, I originally had a plan to do a project of the history of Rock Hill, so I'll
Yes.
throw that out there. And I've got a lot of photographs, as Lori can attest to. She's seen them.
Yes.
So then we want to call this a Rock Hill Library Historic Preservation Committee or?
Project, maybe, or committee, yeah.
The-
I don't
What
care. I
did you,
mean,
what'd you say, Lori?
what do you think, Jen?
I mean, for now, naming it, I think is fine, but committing to the actual, like, I need to make sure that we have enough information. Like she is, like, I want to do, like Lori mentioned, we might have more success if we do, or Chantel said this, do a general history of Rock Hill and feature African-American history, because I need to find out, do we have enough information on just African-American history? Is she suggesting to do
Some
an
research.
entire
Well,
project? So
Well, that would, I
I'm
think that
happy
the
to-
point is the committee, that would be the point of the committee, right? Is
Right.
to
right. So
take
that,
the
but I just,
funding and the resources.
so I just wanted, that's why I was saying what we were voting on was just the title then at this point of the committee, correct?
I think we're voting on, I mean, maybe I'm totally off base, but I thought we were discussing forming the committee and appointing people to get started.
Sure.
Right,
Great.
right.
Sounds good.
Yes, and I think in doing that, we have to have a sense of the scope of the committee. So is it, go ahead, Karen.
Oh, yeah, I think it sounds like the committee is formed, people join the committee. Obviously, the first project at hand might be this in specific, and then that could be, I don't know, this fiscal year, and then hopefully more projects that incorporate other aspects of history.
So does anyone else have an idea for the name of this thing other than Rock Hill Library Historic?
I think Rock Hill History Committee is fine, and then we
Yeah.
can,
I mean, that's pretty.
there's a piece of
defined.
it that, that we have designated funds that can only go to part of it, but, we may need funds for other parts of it, so we'll
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Mhm.
Do we need to vote on forming this committee? We do, okay.
I think so.
Okay, then I'll make a motion then to form the Rock Hill Library History Committee.
I'll second.
Second, Chantal, okay. Okay, and so far I'll put Jen, Danya, and Lori on the committee. Does anybody else want to participate?
I'll join.
Okay, Karen, good.
Yay.
Okay, good.
We still have to vote, Marty.
Oh, we had to, oh, sorry. See, my term's going to be over. And then I'll just not
She's
get
ready.
Okay,
Just
all
want
in
to keep
favor?
that power, huh? No voting. Marty says it's good.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? No, okay. Okay, this is the end of the agenda. Now, see what you all think. Okay, I'm down here in executive session. The only thing we have to do in the executive session is approve the minutes from the last executive session. For the last executive session, all we did was approve the minutes on the one. That's all. I'm thinking not to approve them, besides I don't have them. But can we just hold off until we have another closed session before we approve these minutes rather than, I mean, this could go on forever.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's kind of like the snake eating its own tail kind of thing, but
Yeah,
but if I recollect correctly, at our last closed session, we didn't just read the minutes and approve them. We also discussed some things. So the problem is we will have to go into closed session because the minutes, we would have to discuss them. So if
Okay,
all we had done is approve minutes at the last meeting, I would say, I don't even think we need to approve the minutes that we approved the minutes. Does
okay.
that make sense?
Okay. Well, that was-
But
that
we
was-
actually had a discussion, so there are real minutes that need to be reviewed and
Okay. Only thing is I have those minutes, so we can't do it tonight anyway, so, okay.
So, but we should definitely tie this all up at the end of the March meeting, since it's the end of our fiscal year, it's the end of your term, it's the.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second,
Second.
Stephanie, second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, meeting,
Bye.
meeting adjourned 7:29. Thank you all.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
it
Thank
was
you.
Bye-bye.
lovely seeing you guys.
Bye.
Take care. Be safe.
Jen,
Oh,
Jen,
bye-bye. Yes.
I have the name of the high school librarian.
Yeah, thank you so much. I could have looked it up, but if
That's
you
all
have it, if you have it, I may have write it down.
I wanted to make sure it was still her from when I worked over there, and apparently it is.
Okay.
It's Sandy Koblitz.
I don't know her, but thank you. And that's Webster Groves High School, right?
Right. She's the head
Great.
librarian at the high school.
Okay. Wait, Sandy what?
It's Coblitz, Koblitz.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really nice to have a name, so I appreciate that.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Because then you just ask for them and they're like, okay, but
Right.
sometimes it's hard to get through at school, so.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay.
very nice to see you. Thank you so much. I'm gonna stop
Welcome.
recording and I will, and take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.